for ages and you haven't touched the format once, haven't looked at upping your graphics, haven't looked at changing the way you do things and making it more streamlined, better looking, more interesting, then if you think about modern TV shows today, season to season, they're changing the way the show looks, the way it runs, the way the story is told. They're tweaking it and, putting polish on it, making it better. Going back to what I commented on at the beginning when I was sort of establishing my credentials. If you're bold enough to watch Star Trek The Next Generation from season 1 to season 7, that first season looks terrible. They're wonderful show. It's a wonderful series, but if you watch those episodes, they're dated and they're a little painful to watch. And you can watch them slowly polish the ball until it has this mirror finish that is enjoyable and timeless and what they clearly wanted at the beginning. They didn't stop and say, we're good enough. As they went on, they said, how can we make this better? How can we tweak this a little bit? How can we improve on this a little bit? They just kept saying, how can we challenge ourselves a little bit more? How can I learn how to do something a little bit better? And as they did that, the show got better. And as the show gets better, people notice. Folks who weren't your fans originally may become fans later when they realize that you went from being that iffy web show to that really good-looking show that you've become a few months or years from when you started. When you get a handle on what you want to do and you've got that feeling and you keep adding the polish, the show that you want comes out and you get exactly what you're looking for. Just checking the time. Okay. That, for the most part, completes everything that I wanted to say and go over with you guys. As sort of a general basis. I want to take the last 20 minutes that we've got in the room and address any specific questions about specific programs that you're looking to produce, that you're interested in producing. Any questions about things that we've tried and failed at or haven't done yet that I might know about. Does anyone have any thoughts, questions, or ideas about anything that I've discussed or anything that you would like to do? Because I'm imagining if you're here and listening to me, you're interested in doing something. Yes?
Actually, I know to get going, so I'm helping around another event, but I just want to say thank you very much for taking out your time to talk to us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And you have a good day.
You too. Yes?
Are there any good advertising tricks you've figured out over the years? Not necessarily literal advertising, just ways of getting the word out about stuff you're doing.
Promotion. I found that promotion is a fickle mistress. You can come up with some really great ideas to get people to think about what it is you're doing and see what you're doing and make sure more people get to it. And you think you're onto something finally, and it's not the case. And there are other times that you do something on a show that you think is, it's just what you do. And someone sees it, thinks it's brilliant, and tells 20 people. The best techniques that I would have is encourage as much word of mouth as possible. Make that connection with the fans that you know that you have. Because folks who are invested in the show want to be able to give something back to the show. And if you can say, hey, and you don't want to do it often because fans can feel put upon if you reach out to them and say, I need you to push this too much. But if you say once in a while, hey, are there people who you think might enjoy the show who aren't watching it yet? If there are, could you tell them about it? Because we really think that we want as many people to listen to us. Our success depends abstractly on numbers. And the bigger those numbers are, the better these shows can get, and the longer our reason for existence can be around. So keeping those connections is a good way to do that. And probably the most reliable way to do that. Because every show will have at least a few people who will say, sure, I'll go tell, 5 people who I think will think this is nice. And the only other thing that I can really suggest as a good idea is to be visible. If there is some way that you can connect a physical area and the program that you're creating together, that will have a very positive effect on your program. I know that whenever Geeks with Issues would go to a convention, we'd see our viewer numbers shoot up. And it would be this weird flow, because a bunch of people would start watching the show because they'd never heard of it before. And they'd go to the website, and a lot of people would be expecting a short form show, something a little more internet-ish, and we were an hour-long TV show. Not as many people would be excited about it, so that number would droop. But it would never go below where it started, because a few people would realize that they liked it and stay. And they wouldn't have known we were there if we hadn't been out there in public. They saw us running cameras, saw us doing what we're doing. We're handing out cards saying, hey, check out our website. Another good thing is to connect to a topic. And as timely a topic as you can is helpful. One of the very early Geeks with Issues episodes was a tribute to Gary Gygax when Gary Gygax passed away. It's probably one of our most beloved episodes because there were so many people going online looking for information about Gygax and looking for some catharsis because he was a very important person in the world of role-playing, D&D in specific, and there were people who'd never known him but had a connection to him and were looking for something. And I mean, other than a quick news blur, Gary Gygax passed away, the world is a smaller place. There wasn't a lot of video content. And then they saw our Geeks with Issues episode, and we got a bunch of people flooding our way because they saw us talking about that topic and then wanted to see what else we did. And we got some very solid, long-term fans out of that. So I'd say the short version of what I just rambled off about is to connect with the fans that you have and have them help you along your way. And connect your show to other things, physical places, events that other people can connect to and feel a connection with that will draw them to the show. If you can come up with new and novel and interesting ways or other things that other people have found successful, give them a try. And that's another thing. Don't be scared to try something new. Just be aware if you're trying something new, it might not work. And you have to be okay with that. Any other questions?
So, what do you think about user-generated stuff, or accepting a lot of suggestions from users, that kind of thing? I mean, interaction with users is good, or interaction with your fans is good, but can you ever go too far on that and end up, with the fans running the show and you not really having any control anymore?
It is a very fine line to walk, and it becomes something that each show needs to make a decision on, where that line gets crossed, where they become, where the purpose of the show gets affected by the fans. I don't want to say it's a negative or a positive effect, by having fans, they've already had an effect on the show by making it a more popular program. You definitely want to thank the fans at a certain point, and you definitely want to make them feel like they have some investment in the show. There are some programs that have been very successful with user-generated content and living off of user-generated content and being a platform for, and that can be hard too, because some programs will take everybody's everything, and everybody's everything isn't always good. There are some programs that will make editorial decisions, and that can be dangerous too. And unless you crowdsource that editorial decision and let the group decide what user-generated content to feature. There are programs that are very successful by having the personalities act as the curators and sort of figureheads to the community. But the goal of that show is less the content and more the community. You're supporting the community and what's going on there. And it's not a